And we are live, Launch Radio. It's always an adventure setting this up, you guys. I mean, literally, the amount, I say this every time, but the amount of work that goes into creating a podcast, creating a show is a lot. So you should have the ultimate, like, the people who go through this, it's a lot more work than it looks. So mad respect to everyone who creates these because I fully realize from doing them how much work is involved, and believe me, it is a lot of logistical work behind the scenes and a lot of lighting and a lot of sound. And so I hope that things are reasonably presentable here in the Launch Radio studio. I know we've been doing some episodes, some test episodes this past week. I'm going to try to have a guest on next week, I think. I already spoke to him and he said he will do it. We just have to set a time, but I think it's going to be Tuesdays in the afternoon are looking like when we're probably going to do this going forward. So it's pretty exciting. And when I get a guest, I like have so many questions that I'm very natural. People who know me know I'm naturally curious, and I that will make things a lot of fun. So Launch Radio is back. I have some things I want to discuss today that I came across on Twitter that I think need discussing. And so we're going to go through those, and I'm going to give you some updates on things, and we will go from there. I'm going to keep it 30 minutes, maybe an hour if I have a guest starting next week, but 30 minutes today. And that's where we're at. So I hope all of you have had a wonderful weekend. It is now Tuesday after Memorial Day. And it's been a slow kind of news weekend up until today. It's still pretty slow. Honestly, Twitter's different. Twitter is so different under Elon Musk. Like, it's really, really different. And not in... He had an opportunity to make things better, because I didn't think the last people at Twitter were particularly great either. I think both are flawed, but in different ways. And it just hasn't... There's way too much disinformation. You know, there's now a blatant account on Twitter that's parodying AOC, and he hasn't taken it down, and it's just so, it's just not right. Like if you're gonna really, I know so he says, a free speech absolutist, but if you want to run a fair thing on both sides, maybe you do, maybe he doesn't want to be fair. But if you're being fair, you take that account down, because it's just not credible, and it's very misleading when people see it. People are misinterpreting. Like, it is an easy decision for somebody who knows this world. He knows rockets, he knows cars. I do not criticize him for that, because he is brilliant in the engineering realm. I know a lot of people do criticize him. I don't think that's fair, but with Twitter, he deserves a lot of criticism. So let's start with this topic, because I have it on the topic list. The whole Twitter versus Bluesky. Now, a lot of people have jumped over to this new application by the name of Bluesky, which Jack Dorsey's behind it again. I think they're in some type of a beta version of it. They're testing it out. But it's going to be like, is the name Open Web? Open, it's going to be more open than Twitter. And I've been on it. It's, one side of the political spectrum crowd. I mean, it reminds me of, when Parler kind of, the reverse of that. And I'm just not sure. The reason I give this, first of all, to get onto Bluesky, you have to have a code. And they give codes to people who are current members. They give you like one every 2 weeks. I think I have 2 or 3 now. I need to give them to people. If you need a code, hit me up. Information is on this podcast. But it's well done. I mean, from a organizational standpoint and how operational it is, it really functions as well as Twitter. And I think, at least part of that is Jack Dorsey, who is, has a great track record. And so if I was to give it, like, of all these platforms like Parler and everything, like if I were to give it a shot of will it succeed, will it go forward, The only thing that makes me think it could go forward is the fact Jack Dorsey's behind it because of his record. What doesn't work in the long run, and it's been proven, is everybody from one side of politics just getting on a platform and agreeing with each other. It's just boring. I mean, I get it, people kind of like it now, but that can only last so long because people get bored, and humans naturally, there's something about the conflict. People like the conflict. They really do. And if not, they get bored. So that's going to happen just like it does with all platforms. But because Jack Dorsey is behind it, you never know with that one. So it has a better chance than some others do. Jack did his best to keep the sides when he was on Twitter. See, there's two realms, and I don't think Musk is doing particularly well in either one. One of the realms is just the engineering of a platform, of how it's run, of how it functions, just the actual mechanics of the platform itself. I still see bots. There are bots literally, I mean, it feels like more bots than before. Because I mean, bots were there before, but it didn't seem like this. My DM direct message junk box, it is literally filled with people offering me crypto deals and stuff that and are these people, I don't understand what these accounts are. Are some of them people? Is it just an AI? What is a bot? Is an AI on the other end messaging me? I mean, who are they all? Because there's a lot of them. And Musk, said he wanted to get rid of these, get rid of the bots, and it hasn't happened yet. It's been November, December, January, February, March, April, what, 7 months? Almost 8 months? And they're worse. I'm noticing them more, not only in my DM box, but that people have been, there's these weird, I guess, bots that are commenting on tweets that are just, they all look the same. I've been posting them, but they're leaving like a jumble of words on like every tweet. And so that's still there. I thought that his version of verification was going to fix that. What's the progress on that? Are we still looking into it? That's one of the big things he was going to, really fix and be known for. He hasn't commented on. I mean, what's the update? He isn't giving an update on that. So I'm very curious where things go with that because they're still there. I think they're worse than before. And the other thing that he's been doing is he's using subscriptions. People, there are a lot of creators on Twitter, me being one of them, and we would like to make money, and that was an initial good idea. Now, he's given subscription access to the vast majority of people have massive followings. I mean, we're talking massive. I mean, I have 7,000 people on Twitter, but these people have most of them over 100,000 followers. Okay? At least 50,000 followers, but most are over 100,000. He's given it to people in the millions who a lot of them are independent, wealthy, and don't need necessarily to make money on Twitter. So he's literally giving it to the people that don't necessarily need it, while the creators who have 7,000 followers, we've been waiting for months. And so, what is going on with that? I did hear, by the way, that in order to get somebody approved, they have to go through these steps of approving it with, I don't know who runs subscriptions, with the pay platform or whatever, and every person is an entity. So that clearly wasn't very well organized because there's all these, all of these, lost my train of thought. All of where people, when they sign up for subscriptions, why do we have this delay? I guess is what I would say. Why is it? I mean, Musk was going to do this, but it's been 8 months and people have been waiting for 2 or 3 for subscriptions. What needs to happen to push that through? He's, an executive. He has executive function way more than I have. And I don't know why he isn't updating that. I don't know why he's not making progress on it. And I don't know why he's not updating people on these things. Because subscriptions and bots were 2 big things he promised. And no progress on either one from what I can see. In fact, both are worse. I would argue both are worse because I would rather the founders of Twitter say that you need to have 10,000 followers or more and keep the crowd smaller and be honest, because with over 10,000, there's not going to be as much demand. You're not going to get somebody with, 700 followers. I think you have to have 500 in my system. you're going to get way less people, and therefore it's going to be faster. So Musk was like, everybody does subscriptions. Let's do it. Oh, you have 500 followers? Go ahead. Well, now it's a disaster because everybody literally has tried to do it, and now nobody who wants it and could really utilize it is getting approved unless you have 100,000 followers or more. So he makes this false promise, and then he doesn't deliver on it. Okay, it's a disaster right now. This is a disaster, the way he's running this. And it's a shame because I think he runs Tesla and SpaceX quite well. But I am going to be really hard on him on Twitter because subscriptions is a disaster. It's worse than before, okay? The bots are worse than before, okay? You're not listening to the left. You're not... 80 to 90% of your replies are with right-wing people. You post right-wing stuff. It's clearly you're one-sided here. It's you're not helping things. You could make things easier on yourself, and he's not. So that's his thing. But so far, he's failed. Okay, so far. Now that could change, but he's not doing a good job at Twitter, and I think that's sad because I have always been a fan. I am still a fan, by the way. I'm harsh on him, but I'm harsh on him because I care, okay? That's why. You get a lot of people who are harsh on him who are just assholes, who just don't care and are just like, I actually care, and that's why I'm harsh on him. And he should listen to me. And he sees what I say to him. So that's my feeling on that, and he knows that. He needs to listen to more people on the left. And I'm by no means on either side. I don't consider myself on either side, but he needs to speak to people who don't stroke his ego because they're the ones that are being more honest and they could really help him with stuff he doesn't understand. That said, because even the great Elon Musk has things he isn't good at. Because we're all bad at things and good at things, including myself. I am bad at so many things. You have no idea. Basically, he needs to listen more to people who he doesn't agree with. That's what he needs to do. Because I'm in the business of listening to people that I don't agree with. I actually love it. Okay? Like, if you want to go to a platform where everybody just agrees with you and validates your opinion, that's easy. That's easy. That's like going to the gym and eating an ice cream cone. You know? The money is in being able to listen to opinion you don't agree with and to counter. That's where the money is. That's where the drama is. That's where the television is. That's where that space is where it all happens. If you don't want to go there, you're wasting everybody's time. And he doesn't respond to people he disagrees with. It's unbelievable, really, how the blindness there. And I wanted to bring this into ADHD because the second topic here. I have ADHD, and I've spoken about it on many podcasts before, and I have written columns on it, and I have spoken to many people over the course of time about what it's like with this, what it's like in my day-to-day having this condition. And it's really, how do I summarize this? A lot of people don't really understand it. A lot of people don't understand it. And what I mean by that is people think that ADHD is just about you can't pay attention to things. That has nothing to do with it, really. I mean, frankly, it's just it has nothing. It has nothing to do with it. We can be so attentive that we can't move our attention. Okay? It's about these transitions, and it's about moving attention from one thing to the next. And what I mean by that is there's a part of ADHD that's called hyperfocus, okay? And so what will happen is it's about the filters. Is I will get interested in a random thing. We call it rabbit holes, and I will go so far down that rabbit hole, hyper focusing on it, that I'll lose track of the time passing because time isn't a thing with us, and I'll then not get done what I'm supposed to get done because I'm so focused. Okay, so while we might not be focused on what we're supposed to be focused on, which is the most important thing, we are focused. It's just on the wrong thing. Because let me tell you, we don't prioritize importance. We don't prioritize consequences or time or ramifications. That doesn't register. That doesn't register to us. It's like generally people know what's important and they get done what they believe is important. But that isn't a thing. With us, it's interest, challenge, urgency, and novelty. It's those four things. So if any of those four things are present, ideally 3 of them or 4 for me. 4 is great. 2 is ideal. But three is like the sweet spot, because 4 I tend to like hyper focus too much. But if like 3 of them are there, I can tune in a regular amount. The problem is I can't get my brain to get interested. It has to be fooled into getting interested in something or something novel. Novelty's huge, okay? Here's why. It's hard for me to do things in my apartment now because there's so little novelty. It's actually really bad for my ADHD. So when I move or go to a new place, I'm actually mentally more healthy because it's a new place. I remember when I used to drive around to coffee shops and find new places just for novelty, just to find novelty in places. I think novelty is probably the top one with me. But the problem with this is when your nervous system is based around interest, challenge, urgency, and novelty, you don't get the important things done. And your executive function struggles immensely. I heard a psychologist talking about it recently, and she was talking about how ADHD people have a spotlight and like a strobe wide. What do you call those lights that are like covering everything? It's not a strobe light. I don't know. Maybe somebody can say in the comments. What's a light that covers tons of ground? But she was saying that basically attention functions with a spotlight, with this large strobe light covering lots of territory. And then there's the executive. So there's 3 parts with attention. And with floodlight, that is it. Thank you. Yes, it's a floodlight. Thank you, Snow. So spotlight, floodlight, and executive. Now, with ADHD, we all have a spectrum with our spotlight and with our floodlight and how our executive handles the two and juggles the two. With ADHD, our spotlight, when you're in a room and you hear something in a dark room, you can put your focus on it with the spotlight. And then when you need to turn it off, you turn it off. And then you can put your focus on something else. And when you turn it off, you turn it off. Okay? We struggle with our spotlight. So this may really make things clear to people, because it really was great. It helps people understand what's going on in my brain, if you can believe that, when they hear this. So we struggle managing our spotlight. It's a form of attention. So when we need to turn it on for something, it sometimes won't turn on. And then we'll turn it on for something else, and we can't get the spotlight off. So I constantly have to deal with a spotlight that's like got broken gears. So when I need to do a podcast, or when I need to do something important, mow the lawn or whatever, something that would not be interest, challenge, novelty, or urgency. If I can't get that spotlight on, I can't do it. And I remember when I started on Adderall in 2015, I finally saw what people see who are neurotypical and can turn it on and off at will. And I was like, oh my God, I can read books that I'm not like really into just to read. Does that make any sense? Like when I want to read an article, I can read it so fast that I almost can understand the article just from looking at it. It's that fast. Or it's literally written in a different language. Like that's the extremes with ADHD. So we struggle managing our spotlight, and all people have this to some degree, but we have it it's more intense. We have it in a stronger, like anything. It's like some people said, well, depression, you're just sad. No, there's a lot more to it than that. Okay. But what's up, Johan? So we got Johan and Snow in here. God, I haven't seen him forever. I promise Mandela Effect videos soon. I ran out of Mandela Effects, and then the pandemic came, but I want to do more soon. Johan's been around forever in here. Great guy. But anyway, back to ADHD. So you've got the spotlight. Then we have what's called the floodlight. And this is in relation to a floodlight covering broad. When you're going up to like a stoplight, the way she described this was when you see it turn yellow, you have awareness of like everything around you because the lights turn yellow. You know, you feel that wide awareness. The floodlight is seeing everything. It's that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. The floodlight is my biggest struggle. Some ADHD people struggle more with the spotlight. The floodlight's my biggest struggle. So the reason I can do news, and the reason why I like doing news, is because I'm seeing everything in the present. Like literally, so the floodlight relates to time, you see. I'm literally seeing everything in the present. Future and past, it's like literally everything happening right now. So when I'm on Twitter, I can just organically see everything. But the problem is that's my floodlight going at a million miles an hour, all spread out, seeing everything. It's the present, okay? When the floodlight turns off, and I saw this when I first started Adderall too, I was able to see the future more. And when I say see the future, because people misinterpret this, it's not about predicting the future or anything like that, because I'm actually quite good at prediction. It's not about that. It's about Russell Barkley, who's an expert at this, calls it time blind. So we're time blind. So we're not able to see ourselves in the future or get in it. What it is an interest, I think, in ourselves in the future. We can't see it. So that makes stuff like finances and stuff very hard, a big struggle, because money relates to time a lot. So the floodlight, people can turn on and off and have that wide awareness of the present versus then yourself in the future, and you can do that. Now, sometimes when I take Adderall, and especially when I started it, I could see the, scoot up here, I could see the future more. And it really is time blindness. And the reason I say it's time blindness is because when I could see it more, it was like somebody had a cloth over my eyes, like a brain, and I could see like light coming through, like little glimpses of, and this isn't prediction. It's not prediction. It's different than that. It's not just predicting what's going to happen. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the version of the future you taking an interest in that. It's that feeling specifically. Neurotypical people who don't have ADHD get this feeling. It's a feeling where you're like, oh, okay, I have to do this for my future self. And you get an interest. When I take Adderall, I can finally feel that a little bit. It's faded. I'm trying to revamp the Adderall medication because I've been on it for 8 years and I feel like it's lost some effect. But it allowed me to see through the blindness a little bit. But the trade-off for this is I have incredible present awareness. I see so many opinions and can see so many people's perspective, and I can see so much more than what most people are seeing in the present. So I can understand a wide array of perspectives. I can connect with a lot of people, all sorts of people from all walks. I'm very good at that because I'm very, very, very in the present moment at all times. That's why I was an actor, because we're taught that, believe it or not, to live in the present. But living in the present isn't all that when Buddha's belief of living in the present isn't always all that, because in order for your future self to have some benefit, you need to be able to see the future somewhat. So, but medication and coaching, which I have a lot, I have an ADHD coach, helps a lot. And it's about that. So that's the floodlight, okay? So, and I struggle the most with that one because my floodlight's always going a million miles an hour. I'm seeing everything everywhere all at once, okay? It's exhausting at points. Like she called it, she's like, they have this almost anxiety-inducing awareness of the present moment. Yes, we do. We do. And some people struggle more with the spotlight, by the way. I struggle with mine a little bit, like somewhat. And then there's the executive. I would say, and I'm going to talk about the executive in a second, I would say my spotlight is pretty mild compared to people with ADHD. I would say my executive is middle of the pack, and I would say my floodlight is severe. Very, very severe. That's what we're working on the most. But it has its benefit. Again, it's like the superpower with the kryptonite thing. It allows me to see so much more. It's actually kind of lonely sometimes, because when you see so many points of view and understand so many people and other people can't, it's actually kind of a lonely place at times. So there's like, I know like one other person on Twitter, and he knows who he is, who can do the same thing I can. I haven't found many more. It's actually kind of spooky. It is. They're out there. I know of maybe one or two others who can see the present like I can, but most can't. But most can see themselves in the future far more than I can. So, because my floodlight's going a million miles a minute. I'll look at your comments in one sec. I have to, you know, I'll look at them 1 second. I'll do it towards the end. I have to get good again at looking at comments and talking at the same time. But I'm very interested in what you guys have to say in the chat box. So floodlight, very tough for me. Spotlight, somewhat tough. The executive is just keeping the balls in the air. The executive is your executive function is running it like running a company. So they're managing the spotlight and the floodlight, like saying to the spotlight, you need to go do this now, turn it off, or floodlight, you need to, it's directing traffic. And it's anything, kind of running, it relates to your goals, or building systems. Your executive function is in charge of that. And when the other two are going haywire, guess what? These systems are reliant on each other. So when your spotlight and your floodlight aren't working properly, the executive isn't able to manage things properly, and your future self suffers. And the executive is juggling. It's keeping things in the air. That's why we struggle with executive function. So it's those three systems, okay? Spotlight, floodlight, and executive. And I struggle with all three. And when somebody, that's how ADHD is diagnosed. When one or two or all three of these things affect your life negatively, that's when it's diagnosed as ADHD. And they have tests and stuff you can do. So it has nothing to do. It's not a person who just can't pay attention. We're too attentive. we're attentive to our own detriment. Okay? It has been so hard for me to activate my life again post-pandemic, because the floodlight is going so hard, or the spotlight's going so hard at different things, that we have to find creative ways to manage both lights. And interest, challenge, urgency, and novelty are the keys. But I can't make something urgent by setting a timer, because my brain doesn't believe it. I need like accountability from people and pushing and all sorts of stuff, because I'm aware of it. Believe it or not, like, think about that. I'm aware of it, and my brain still won't necessarily do what I want it to do. What I want it to do. Does that make sense? Like, I am a very, very, very ambitious person, driven, ambitious person who happens to have this. And I suffer from productivity shame a lot. Productivity shame is the hardest part for me, because I want to do more and can't. And it looks like a motivation problem to people on the outside. And it's not a motivation problem. I'm very motivated, but it's the rubber meeting the road. It's where the rubber meets the road. We don't activate quickly. We struggle with transitions. And so I really want people to understand that this is very real. And I have to deal with this all day long, every single day. It is literally my life. ADHD is like the amount of like difficulty it brings. You guys have no idea. Those who don't have ADHD have no idea. I mean, it is overwhelming. So I wanted to sum that up. I hope that helps people somewhat. Now, there are a couple things on Twitter. I only wanted to go 30 minutes today, and I'm already going to go. I mean, we're at 30 minutes right now. It's probably going to go 40. So I have a couple things on Twitter that, and by the way, someone like Musk, how it connects to the last conversation, has Asperger's, and he has proclaimed he has autism Asperger's, which is so different than ADHD, like a totally different beast. Musk doesn't struggle at all, from what I can see, with executive function. It actually looks like what he's great at, his executive and his ability to manifest something in the present for the future. because he can see himself in the future. I think he's actually really, really great at it. Like ADHD would be the last thing I would think he would have. But he has autism, which means I think autistic people, now I could be wrong, I'm not a doctor, don't listen to what I say, but I think autistic people have often struggled to relate to different people and social interactions and stuff, different walks of life, I think. And that may pertain to why he doesn't connect with various people on Twitter, which is the opposite of ADHD. We struggle with executive function, which he's great at, and we are the epitome of being able to understand from all walks. Now, obviously, not every ADHD person is that way, but a lot of us have a wide understanding of a large variety of opinions because of our floodlight. We're seeing everything everywhere all at once. And so Musk looks like someone who is the opposite of having ADHD, to be quite honest, in every way. So those things connect. Now let's talk about, I think, two more topics here. The first of which is I saw this on Twitter, this tweet today about Google has created a what's called Project Starlink. Project Starlink. And what it is it's like a Zoom call. And it's obviously, this is still in like beta testing, so it's got a long way to go. They've created a Project Starlink is like and what it is, I mean, who knows if this will ever be wide release or if it will end up on the junk floor at Google, which is probably what will happen, but who knows? I don't know. But what it is, it's a Zoom call, and it takes like 3D renderings of the person you're talking to, and it feels like when you're talking to the person that they're in the room with you. So instead of a Zoom call through a 2D computer screen, due to the renderings, you feel like you're in the room talking to the person, which, by the way, has no appeal to me whatsoever. It just has no appeal. I'm perfectly happy with the person in 2D. Like I don't need a 3D fake person there. I think it's like a little spooky, and it's a little strange. It's a little dark, to be honest. Like, the appeal of having someone in the room with you who's not there. Just, I don't need that. Why do people want that? It's just as good. Nobody is fooled into knowing that that's not really their mom. You know, that she's in they're going through the screen. Nobody really thinks the person is there. So what appeal does that add? You know, getting to pretend like you're talking to someone in the room when you're not. I just think it's a little dark and a little weird, and I'm fine talking to someone through a computer screen. I saw a tweet from someone on it where they said something about, let me see if I can find it. It was really funny. They said, oh yeah, here it is. They said, imagine if every Zoom call felt like a prison visit. That's exactly right. That is exactly it. Because when you visit someone, you don't get to see them. You don't get to, you see them, but you don't get to really connect in a deeper way. They're kept away from you. So there's no appeal. It's just like that. It's literally, I wouldn't say it's just like that. It's very close to that. Like, he's got the right vibe for what it is. So I don't see an appeal in that. It just looks, we'll see what happens, but I think it would be hard to get a lot of people interested. I see all this AI stuff, which kind of connects to this, and people are talking about how AI is going to be the end of the world and stuff, especially people on the right. It seems to be like the people on the right talk about it like the left talks about climate. It's kind of like, the doom to each side, and I feel like AI looks to me similar to, like, the people who are creating. Somebody had a tweet about this too. The people who are creating AI are the ones who are warning about it, and it's like like Musk is huge behind AI, and he warns about it, but it's like you're the one that's instrumental into it. So it just feels like this it feels very hypocritical to me, how, like, if they're creating AI and warning about it at the same time, like, I just don't, like, they're supposed to be helping solve the problem. And it really, in some ways, it relates to, tweeted about this a week or two ago, the gun issue, where, taking responsibility for, using something for what it's supposed to be used for, and how it can have a very negative impact. The responsibility of the ones creating it, is it the guns or is it the person holding the gun? Is it the AI or is it the person creating the AI? AI feels like it's a bigger version of that issue. I'm yet to see fully how it's like extinction mode with it. I guess because they think it could take over and kill us all and be smarter than humans or something. But I don't know. I'm not sitting around worried about AI. I don't. I just see something that seems hypocritical. They're the ones that are the experts, so don't create it and tell everybody to be fearful of it. Like, just give us a little more here. Give us a little more. So that would be that on that topic, but a lot more to say. I want to eventually get people that are experts on this stuff so that I can ask them so many questions. Okay, so that's that. And then what was the final thing that I wanted to discuss? I think it was about, I know what it was about. Let's talk about success. This is a good thing to end on too. And then I'll look at the chat here because I have I want to go through some of what you guys said real quick at the end. But I tweeted today about success, and I saw this come up because someone tweeted a tweet about Harrison Ford, the actor, who was a construction worker. Many of us have heard that story. I've heard it since I was very young. He was a construction worker working on the set or whatever, and he eventually went on to do Star Wars and many others, and he, all of that. Okay. I've lived in Los Angeles now for 19 years. I have worked on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of movie sets. I have worked at companies behind the scenes, seen what goes on in entertainment, seen how it, like, agents, producers, directors, like, I've literally seen it all from all perspective, actors. And the thing about success, and this isn't just the entertainment business, this applies to all business, is there's not something magical. Harrison Ford is not a magician. He's not a god. He's not he's not someone with special powers. I'll tell you what he is. He is this is my guess. By the way, I'm always guessing. He is a very smart, talented, and skilled human being who got very, very lucky. Okay? That's it. You don't need to go into any, we don't need anything mystic. We don't need that he is a player character or not an NPC. We don't need that he is a god and secretly we don't know it. He's not a magician. Okay? He's just a guy. I've seen him, but I haven't met him. He's just a guy. Honestly, when you see a lot of these celebrities too, like, they're just like, it's not that. The entertainment media for decades blows this up, and you realize everybody is just people at the end of the day. Harrison Ford is a very smart, skilled, and talented person who got lucky, okay? And luck, and I tweeted this today, is the most important variable of those. I, in 19 years, have seen hundreds, if not thousands, of very skilled, very smart, very talented people who just haven't gotten a break, okay? And luck is huge. And my grandfather, who was general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals and president of St. Louis Cardinals and of the New York Mets, who worked in baseball for years and was around executives and always said, when someone would ask him about his success, he would say, I worked hard and most importantly, I got lucky. And that is so true. Luck is so, so important. And anyone who's had any form of success who doesn't acknowledge that, it's people will connect with you a lot more when you acknowledge that. Let me put it that way. Because nobody is a god on earth. Nobody is some special mystic who's come down from the skies. You're just a really smart, talented, intelligent person who got really, really lucky. There's so many people out there who are just as talented, smart as you who haven't had a break. Trust me. Life is a lot of luck. Now, I want to emphasize that you better have at least two of those other variables, luck, talent, and skill. Ideally, wait, no, take luck out. Talent, skill, and smarts. Talent, skill, and intelligence. You better have at least two of those, but all three is ideal. And then you need the luck. Okay? So you have to, those are a given. But you didn't get it without the luck. There's so many people out there that are just as talented, just as skilled, and just as smart as you that haven't. And I'll even add another. I don't know. Oh my God, I almost left this out. Hard work and hardworking, especially hardworking. And I see these people every day, but they haven't had the luck. And a lot of people who, were raised in a certain environment or who got lucky early on or whatever, don't acknowledge this. And it's really bad to not acknowledge this, because the luck is really important. And if you've had that break, it's good to really have empathy and acknowledge that, because people will respect you more, And when you're smart or not smart, when you're rich and when you're in a certain, you've gotten to a certain level of success and you only see other people that are successful, it's easy to forget. It's easy to think that those people who haven't been successful weren't as hardworking or smart or skilled or talented as you were. No, it had nothing to do with that. It had that you had all those things and you got lucky. Okay? That's it. If I can make this point, this is so important. Okay? Because a lot of people have success and they forget that. They think that they were harder working. They think that they were more skilled, that they were more talented. No doubt you had those. You were hardworking, you were skilled, you were talented, you were smart, but the luck is the big one. And there's a lot of people who don't get it. I'm going to end on that today. I'm going to look at let's look at some comments real quick. Wow, a lot in here. Snow says, Yakanira being the new CEO, so it is, as far as their connection with the World Economic Forum, only the authorized are allowed to speak about authorized topics, even on YouTube. Yeah, it's just new stuff with Twitter happening. There's a lot. You struggle a great deal with the concept of time. ADHD people struggle with time. Time isn't even a thing. I'm always in the present, so time isn't really even a thing. Maybe ADHD people have it right, and everybody else is wrong. Like, they say time doesn't exist, so maybe living in the present, maybe we're more aware than everybody else. Maybe we're actually seeing things more for how they are than everyone else. Aha. Sometimes I wonder about that. Like, are we actually seeing things more clearly because we're so in the present? Because they do say time doesn't exist. The linear time is just a creation. It's just something that, people created way back when so they could sleep at night and understand this sun going around a planet, or not sun going around, this earth, rotating. Like, they created time because it was a way to, it was a structure of thinking to place people in to make themselves comfortable about how the world is. So maybe if time doesn't exist, maybe we're right. I sometimes think about that because I'm seeing all these opinions that people don't see. And I'm like, maybe I'm the aware one. I don't know. I think that I definitely am very handicapped by this condition in so many ways, pertaining to executive function especially. But it also has its gifts, its advantages. So yes, the concept of time is hard. Yeah, Mandela effects. I used to do Mandela effects on YouTube. I created 50 Mandela effects. Johan, I probably had between, if I was doing 10 a video, I probably did 500 Mandela effects. 500 go to my YouTube channel, jeffreypilkington.com. It's right below this box. You'll see it there. I probably created 500 to 1,000, or I probably did videos of 500 to 1,000 Mandela effects back 2 or 3 years ago, right before the pandemic. I'll look if I see some new. Maybe I'll create it. Maybe I'll do some again. I need to make sure my editor, as of fall, he was still around. I need to see though, because I want him to edit this. But yes, I would like to be be able to do some more. And that's so nice of you. Thanks, Johan. He says, I love your content no matter what. Thank you, Johan, and thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I think I suffer from ADHD as well, and it's something that I've been trying to overcome for the past couple of years now. Yeah, you can always get tested. They are learning more and more about it every day. There's centers and stuff you can contact. It's very Googleable. I was diagnosed in Chicago in 2005. So I was, no, yeah, it was 2005. It was right after college. So I was 23. 23. Wow. And I started medication in 2015. The first doctor I went to gave me Nutra ADD and it didn't do jack shit. He gave me Nutra ADD. It was like vitamins and it did nothing. Okay? Vitamins are good for in a lot of things, like for overall health and that type of thing. And I'm sure they're good in supporting things with helping with mental health, but they're not gonna. Mental health is not cured by taking a vitamin. Okay. But yes, you can go get tested. I don't take any medications. I feel that it could affect me in a very negative way. So try to distance myself and give myself self-care and does work, especially when it comes to anxiety. Yes, that's good. Self-care is always great. Ask your doctor about medications and what you should take. They've helped me, but they don't work on anyone and they can have side effects. But talk to your doctor. I'm not a medical professional. But yes, feel free to get tested for ADHD, Johan. Buddha's hopes are unrealistic. It is impossible to live without causing ripples. Yes, that's right. Issues with executive function are extremely isolating and yes, they are. I often feel so in the moment that it can be a lonely place. It has its advantages, sure. It helps me understand opinions and connect with a wide variety of people, but there's not a lot of people around here. And you have to understand the world that I live in. The people don't have a brain that can do that. It's like it's like you're driving down the street in a pickup truck and like everything else is a Prius. And you can't figure out why the Prius isn't like the pickup truck. It kind of feels that way sometimes. I found one other person who can see reality like I do. I found one on Twitter. I think he knows who he is, but I haven't found many more, honestly. Anyway, it's so maddening to make full use of every day. It's maddening. Yep, self-shaming, a lot of productivity shame, because if you're an ambitious person like I am with ADHD, productivity shame is going to be one of your biggest battles because you want to get stuff done and can't. It's actually somebody who's naturally like lazy and has ADHD probably has it easier because they don't want to get anything done necessarily. So, I mean, it probably affects them in other different ways, but if they're not wanting to be productive, it probably is a little bit easier because if you don't have to be productive, it's like, whatever. But when you want to be productive and can't, and you're as driven as I am, like obsessively driven, and you have this, like, it's productivity shame all day long, every day. Okay, that's what I deal with. Productivity, a constant productivity shame. Stream looking great. Good topic too. Thank you. Oh, Domi. Oh, he's in here. He helped me set it up. My lighting set designer in the studio here. Domi is here in the chat. Yes, we worked for a while on this, and it is an ongoing process. But yes, it's working. Thank you. So thank you to him. He's on Fiverr, and if you want to reach out to him, he's great with running. I'm running OBS Studio, which is podcasting software, on a gamer laptop, which I bought a few years ago, and I have a webcam and this mic and some headphones, and it works. So, but he helped me set it up. Let me know if you need someone to help you set up your podcast. Autism is a spectrum. Most autistic people have extremely hyper-focused executive function. Yes, autism is a spectrum. Yes, that would make sense with what I said about Musk. I don't know as much about autism, but that sounds accurate. Google junks way too much. Electronically induced schizophrenia. It's VR chat. That's what Google's Project Starline. Project Starline. That's what it is. It's like VR. Yeah, it's VR chat. Augmented reality, more like reality testing, high tech. Yeah, it's deficit an executive function to make AI and warn about it. Yes. That's it. Well, that's interesting. Well, he has a lot of executive function. Like his executive function is rolling. Um, it may be a lack of awareness, of self-awareness somehow, because I do see that. But something's going on with that. He's waiting for external locus of control. Someone else must tell him to stop for him to be able to stop. Probably someone who he'll listen to. He clearly won't. Well, he does listen to me sometimes, but not enough. I'm very confident in my beliefs and such, and so it would help him a lot if he would listen to me, because there's areas where he's good, where I'm terrible, and there's areas where I'm good, where he's terrible. And yes, I'm confident about that. AI is a liar, cheat, and thief. Yeah, well, apparently, yeah. Well, he did practice. Who practiced witchcraft? Musted? Who practiced witchcraft? You can create your own luck through relation missions with the right people. Yeah, some people have more luck than others. Extremely isolated. Some days I feel pretty isolated. It's one of the weirdest feelings. Yeah, isolating is not fun. You need to be. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're talking about Harrison Ford. Okay. Because I'm going through topics now in the chat that I already talked about, so I'm connecting things, trying to piece together which item chats were from 15 minutes ago. Harrison Ford practiced witchcraft. I did not know that. That's interesting to know. Anyway, Johan Snow, it's good to see you. I will try to do a Mandela Effect video soon. I've thought about putting those on TikTok. I did start a TikTok account. I know there's a lot of controversy around TikTok, but you can find me on there. I've made four videos. Probably gonna make more. I might put the Mandelas up on TikTok. I thought about doing that. And I'll make another Mandela if there's any Mandela effects. I feel like I did them all. I was running out of them right when the pandemic hit. We were getting thin on the Mandelas. But if I can find a group, Johan, maybe write it on the, if there's any you know of, comment on this YouTube video and I'll check it out. And if I can get enough good ones, I'll go back to making a Mandela Effect video. That would be fun again. I know I've said it a couple times before, but I haven't found enough to make one. And I was even starting to repeat them towards the end, those last few videos. I did 50 Mandela Effect videos. Find them on my YouTube, the link below. All my social media is below. I'm always doing news commentary on Twitter. You can find me there. YouTube is a large variety of stuff. It's Mandela Effect videos. It's this podcast. Instagram and Facebook, I'm also posting to, all of the above. I hope to do more Launch Radio coming forward. I think I'm going to have a friend of mine as a guest trial run next week. I need to talk to him more about it and confirm that. But here, let's see. There are a lot of personal stories that you could check out. I'm not sure what that's referencing, but yes. That is all I have for you today. Thank you all for being here. Here at Launch Radio, we are the future. And the future is Launch Radio. Thank you all. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Later.